If you are a middle school student or high school student who is struggling with stress or mental health challenges, this video is for you. And if you know a middle school student or a high school student who's struggling with mental health challenges, this video is for you. My name is Mike Veny. I'm a mental health speaker, writer, and the author of the book, Transforming Stigma, How to Become a Mental Wellness Superhero. In today's video, I am going to give you self-care tips for middle school students and high school students. And if you are new to my channel, please subscribe. We come out with new videos every week. And that being said, I was a teenager who struggled with mental health challenges. And also, I was a teenager, and let's just face it, being a teenager sucks. It sucks even more if you've got mental health challenges. And for me, my challenges took place in the form of behavior. I had a lot of behavior problems. I was expelled from 3 schools because of my anger. I attempted to die by suicide at age 10. I self-harmed, and I was just in the mental hospital. I was in there 3 times for extended periods, but in between those times I was constantly in the emergency room in crisis. So I really struggled, and this video is actually for me. Like, I'm gonna be selfish here. I'm talking to myself because I wish someone would have shared a video like this with me when I was younger, and I hope that you watch it through to the end because there's something in here for you. And there's so many youth who are struggling out there. I mean, I have the honor of speaking around the country. I speak in colleges, corporations, conferences. But I also love to speak in schools. I really do, because when I speak in schools, there's something really special. It's like I'm getting to heal my own self through that process. And I love talking with middle school students and high school students about what's going on in their lives and answering any questions that I can. And I learn so much from them. But one of the things that I've come to learn is that mental health challenges are a real problem with youth today. And in fact, recently I learned that it was an issue, a November 2018 issue of The Economist, that said the rate of suicide amongst young people throughout the world has actually declined since the year 2000. That's a great statistic. Love that statistic. However, on the negative side, here in the United States of America, it's actually increased. And that's a huge problem for me. One of the worst phone calls that I can get is that a young person died by suicide. I love speaking in schools, like I said, but I hate it when they call me because a young person has died by suicide. There's no reason that anyone should have to feel the need to take their own life. And so hopefully in this video, I'm not telling you that what I'm going to share with you will take away depression or take away anxiety or take away anything else that you're struggling with, but it will make it much easier to manage. So let's get right into it. So one of the things that I remind young people that they can do is to start taking control of their day. I did a video recently on morning routines and how I get up and do my morning routine. And for many youth, they just get up at the last minute. Mom and dad or their guardians have to force them to get out of bed, and they go to sleep late. So it's really important for young people to actually start waking themselves up. And there's 2 reasons for that. When you actually set the alarm and wake yourself up, it's the first step to positive self-esteem. I actually learned this in the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Dr. Stephen Covey. If you've read that book, please comment below. Let me know your thoughts on it. One of my favorite books of all time. And in it, he talks about how when you make a commitment to yourself and keep the commitment, that's the beginning of self-esteem. So when you start making commitments and keeping commitments to yourself. So one of the things that I recommend is that youth actually set their own alarm and just start waking up at a certain time and do something for themselves just for 5 minutes in the morning. And this is really powerful because once you do that, you start to take control of your day. And truth be told, if you're an adult watching this, you might need to start doing that too. It's a really powerful thing, such a simple thing, right? Set your own alarm, agree with yourself to get up at that time, and spend 5 minutes doing something around self-care. Now, there's a difference between self-care and escape activities. Escape activities are picking up the cell phone, which I am so guilty of. Did a lot of that this morning, actually, but happens sometimes. The reality is I try to get myself back to self-care activities, which are nurturing activities that grow my soul and make me a better person. For instance, it might be journaling, it might be reading, it might be just sitting there and meditating. Whatever it is, do something for you. So I encourage all youth, number one, to start taking care of themselves in the morning by waking up at a certain time that they choose with their alarm and start your day. Number two, this is my favorite. So a lot of times there are many young people in middle school and high school who are struggling who might not identify with mental health challenges. I mean, many of the people that I speak to at events, they might be there to learn about mental health, but they don't see it in themselves or their families or know someone, even though I really believe that we all know somebody who's really struggling with mental health challenges, but that's another conversation. But one thing we can all identify with is stress. And if you are a young person or you know a young person who is struggling with stress, one of the greatest things that you can do is called a mind sweep. A mind sweep, I learned this from David Allen's book, Getting Things Done, another great book. Check it out. If you have read it, please leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on that. One of my favorite books too, besides The 7 Habits. I like to read, by the way. In this book, he taught me the art of taking out, see if I have one. Don't have my, wait, hold on one second, I'll show you. He taught me the art of taking out my little yellow pad, fix a little thingy on there, whenever I'm feeling overwhelmed. So I take out this pad, and what I do is I write down everything that's on my mind. Now, this is not just things that I have to do. It might be things that I'm angry at, the person that I just, want to scream at. Whatever it is, writing what is on your mind and putting it on paper temporarily frees yourself from being in prison with it, just temporarily. It doesn't take away the problems. If you've got a paper due and you're stressed about it and you write down, I'm stressed about my paper, it's not gonna make the paper go away. Sorry, that'd be really cool, right? If it did that. But the idea is that you wanna give yourself a buffer just to free yourself up. So sometimes we keep so much up here that we need to free our minds and just breathe for a bit. So when you do that, it makes it much easier to manage. And what I do is I take what I write on that piece of paper and sometimes I just put it away and look at it later when I'm much more clear-headed. But either way, if you've got a lot of things on your mind, if you're a young person who is stressed, take out a pad and a pen and write stuff down. Just write what's on your mind. I encourage people to actually do that every day. Sometimes I wake up, I'm stressed, and before I can even start my morning routine, I've got to write down everything that's on my mind. But it's a great way to clear your head. It's a great activity for adults too. So again, number one, for teenagers, start getting yourself up by yourself. Yeah, I said that. I'm really interested to see what kind of comments I'm going to get from young people about that. And when you get up, do something for yourself for 5 minutes. And number two, take out a piece of paper throughout the day as many times as you need to and just write down what's on your mind. Number three is asking yourself self-care questions. And these are questions that I've actually come up with recently that I really wish someone would have taught me when I was younger. Question number one is, what's going on inside me right now? And when you ask yourself that question, it forces you to locate, even in your body, where emotions are. Even if you're feeling happy, what's going on inside me right now? I know sometimes even when I'm happy, I feel anxious. I feel it in my chest. So taking a moment just to locate that is really grounding. Number two, asking yourself, how am I feeling? And a lot of times we don't even become aware of how we're feeling. For me, it's great. I'm constantly feeling anger. I think I'm angry all the time. But once I really ask myself that and listen for the real answer, oftentimes I'm just sad. And for many teenagers, that's the case. I know that I meet with many young boys who tell me that they struggle with anger, and I have to have the talk with them and say, look, sometimes anger is actually depression, and they're shocked to hear that because we just go right to anger and we think we're all about exploding, but there's more stuff going on under there, but you have to do the work. So asking yourself, number one, what's going on inside me? Number two, how am I feeling? And number three is my favorite. What do I need right now? What do I need right now? Now, if you're in class, what do I need right now? And you need a nap? I mean, I'm not going to tell you to take a nap, but you know, if you need water, if you need a hug, it's important to just know what you need. We're not always going to be able to get that, okay? So take me for instance, if I am on a plane, which I spend a lot of time on planes, and I really need to go to the gym and work out, it's not going to happen until I land. And so it's really important to remember that understanding what you need is the first step, and then we can talk about it in another video, making sure you get that. So again, number one for teenagers is waking yourself up in the morning on time with your own alarm, doing something for yourself. Number two is doing a mind sweep with a pad throughout the day. And number three is taking time to ask yourself those three questions. Really, really important. And here's what happens. It doesn't make depression go away. It doesn't make stress totally go away. It makes it manageable. Because one of the things that we all have in common, those of us who just deal with stress or struggle with mental health challenges, is they become really overwhelming. And when they become too overwhelming, that's when real problems happen, and that's when people start self-harming, or even worse, attempting suicide. So I really encourage young people watching this to listen to this video, and if you love someone who is a young person, share it with them. And for adults, hopefully there's something in here for you too. Also, I want to say this to any youth who are watching. If you are self-harming or thinking about dying by suicide, please tell an adult. I know it's not what you want to do. I know you think it won't matter. I know you think that, what's the point? Why would I want to share this with anyone? This is what needs to happen. No, talk to someone, because you know what? When we are in a rough place, this is a fact, we're not rational. We're in prison up here. For adults, we have a phrase called HALT. Don't make big decisions when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Hungry, especially for me, by the way. I love food. And yes, when I am hungry, I snap at everybody till I get my food. I just, whatever. But the idea is that when you're in a rough place, you can't make rational decisions. So if you're thinking of planning something, whatever it might be, I promise you, pause and just talk to an adult about it. It's not going to feel comfortable, I'm sorry, but it's going to lead to gold on the other side. Yes, that is what I promise you. If you talk to a trusted adult, it begins a cycle of conversations that eventually lead to gold on the other side, meaning life's going to get better. Life's going to get more manageable. But it takes hard work, it takes time, and it takes a willingness to have the courage to talk about it. And I wish someone would have told me that as a kid, because so many times I remember walking through middle school and high school and just feeling alone. Just feeling alone. And a lot of people thought I had it together, thought I was, the happiest person in the world, but no, inside I was struggling, And I know many of you watching that are going through that. So I really encourage you to talk to someone. Actually, in the description, we're going to leave some information on hotlines to reach out to and free resources that you can also reach out to if you're having a tough time. And if you're, again, someone who loves a person in middle school or high school who's struggling, the resources are for you too. So that being said, thank you so much for watching my video. If you found it helpful, please leave a thumbs up. You click the little like button. If you didn't like it, leave a thumbs down. That's okay too. And you know what? If you didn't like it or did like it, tell me why you didn't like it or didn't like it in the comments below. But that being said, if you haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel here. We have videos every week. I promise you, I'm going to do my best to give you real tools that are practical, because my mission in life is to help support people in healing emotional pain. So I encourage you to do that. And finally, if you think someone else in your life would find this video helpful, please share it with them. So thank you so much for your time and trust. Take care.